The buzzard is one of Britain's largest birds of prey. The key to its survival is adaptability. It takes any opportunity it sees. The common buzzard is so named because it was once a common sight all over Britain. It should still be common today, but 3 centuries of trapping, shooting and poisoning have virtually eliminated it from almost half of Britain. In an age where attitudes towards wildlife are more enlightened, buzzards are now making a comeback to the countryside that is rightfully theirs. A look at the distribution of the common buzzard shows there are plenty in Wales, Scotland and Western England, but relatively few in Ireland, the Midlands or the east of England. Buzzards have been heavily persecuted, especially in the east, where many gamekeepers kill the birds by shooting or poisoning them. Pesticides have probably affected their numbers too. Poisoning stems from the belief that buzzards kill many young grouse, pheasant and partridge chicks, but there's no evidence that they have any significant effect on the number of these game birds. Though persecution has reduced buzzard numbers in the game shooting districts of the Midlands and the east of Britain, there are still plenty in the west. Here, they're a familiar sight because they're so conspicuous when flying. Buzzards are closely related to eagles. In some areas of Scotland, they're even known as the tourist eagle, but they're much smaller than eagles, with a wingspan of only 4 feet, and they favour lowland areas and farmland. The golden eagle has a wingspan of well over 2 meters. It's restricted almost exclusively to the mountainous regions of Scotland. Eagles have a slower, heavier wing beat than buzzards and a larger turning circle when soaring. A golden eagle's beak and head are more prominent, while the buzzard's bill and head are proportionately much smaller. While the buzzard may lack the majesty of an eagle, it is still a very compelling bird of prey. It is an absolute master of flight, riding thermals and upcurrents for hours. Buzzards are one of the world's most versatile birds of prey, and this is reflected in their overall design, which is one of compromise. The tail is broad. This cuts down on speed, but gives lift during soaring flight, and is useful for maneuvering in confined spaces. The wings are long, with a large sail area, but not so elongated that the buzzard cannot twist and turn in pursuit of prey, or when flying in woodland. The buzzard's design allows highly flexible hunting behavior. The bird can hang virtually motionless on upcurrents of wind above a slope. This is called slope soaring and is useful for hunting in open country where there are few perching places. Trimming its wings to the wind, the buzzard holds as steady as a hovering kestrel. The head is almost motionless, allowing the eyes to see clearly and locate prey from up to 100 meters. Buzzards don't specialize when it comes to prey, and this is a great advantage. They will take anything from a beetle to a rabbit. Bank and field voles are particular favorites. Shrews are taken too. Avian prey ranges from pigeons to missel thrushes. The stoop is by no means always successful. 9 times out of 10, the prey escapes at the last moment. Buzzards prefer varied habitats, like farmland and woodland with clearings. This gives the greatest range of food. They need trees to nest in and to hunt from, and open spaces so that the prey is visible. The all-powerful talons strike home with deadly accuracy on a wood mouse. Smaller items like worms and beetles are picked up directly in the beak. The buzzard is very adaptable in its hunting techniques, particularly in winter. The winter months are lean ones for buzzards throughout Britain because mice, shrews and voles die off from cold and starvation. Because buzzards are day-flying birds, the middle of winter means their hunting time is severely reduced. The buzzard's year begins in February. In Scotland, buzzards occupy farmland and also birch and open pine woods as their habitat. Snow and sleet have been present for the last 5 months. Sleet is a problem for buzzards, icing up their feathers and making hunting extremely difficult. Britain is one of the few places in northern Europe where buzzards do not migrate south in the winter. It seems that their hunting grounds or territories here are large enough to support them through these sparse months. The ability to search the whole area in effortless soaring flight certainly helps. If they find carrion in their territory, buzzards will almost always eat it. A dead roe deer is a welcome bonus in winter. Their liking for carrion makes buzzards easy to poison. Many are killed by poisoned baits every year. They often compete over carrion with buzzards from nearby territories. Doug Weir studied the social behavior of buzzards for many years. His experiments in Speyside involved a decoy bird, a buzzard which he reared to adulthood after a nest blew down in a gale and which he kept under license. His work with the decoy gave a unique insight into the way in which buzzards defend their territories. Wild buzzards are not always easy to observe closely. Putting out the tame bird with a piece of carrion bait alongside it attracted any wild buzzards in the area and allowed Doug Weir to study them at close range. The decoy bird, already well fed, was attached by a leash to its perch. The bait was placed just out of reach, but close enough so that wild birds would believe the decoy was feeding. When everything was set, Doug returned to his car. Buzzards, like most animals, take little notice of people inside a vehicle. For advance warning of wild birds, the best thing is to watch the decoy. With eyesight probably 8 times as acute as a human, it can spot other buzzards far quicker than any observer. In this area of farmland, the tame buzzard first attracted several young birds. As a 6-month-old bird comes in, the decoy adopts a defensive posture. The first-year bird is unnerved by the tame bird, which is older. The young buzzard has little social status and is not confident enough to go in for the bait. During his work on Speyside, Doug Weir discovered that adult buzzards behave aggressively towards intruders, but minimize physical contact by using special postures and flight displays. The most impressive display at the decoy comes from the resident adult pair. The skydiving and deep wing beatings are threats to try and drive it away, for the adult birds see an intruder stealing food from their territory. By studying their displays at close quarters, Doug Weir identified many buzzards as individuals. By placing the decoy in different positions, he worked out exactly how far their territories extended. The effect of the decoy is far-reaching. The pair in the neighboring territory also see the display flights, and this sparks off their own ownership display. This type of flight is called pair soaring. It's both a territorial display and one of courtship at the same time. When the tame bird is placed close to the boundary of their territory, the resident pair display in no uncertain terms. The white underwing feathers catching the sunlight form a threat signal before the attack. By studying which birds came to the decoy, a picture emerged that pairs of buzzards defend their territories the year round, to the exclusion of all other adult birds. The advantage of holding a year-round territory is that it provides a safe nesting area and a regular food supply on ground that the buzzards are familiar with. To maintain and advertise their occupancy, the male makes regular display flights, particularly in the months of February and March. They consist of breathtaking aerial maneuvers called the roller coaster. The display serves the important purpose of keeping other buzzards away, which is why the male spends so much time on the wing. It's also used in courtship. The female's display flight is less energetic. In the course of it, she sometimes carries pieces of nesting material. Buzzards pair for life, which can be up to 30 years in the absence of persecution. The male courts the female anew each spring, diving and swooping at her in display. Mating takes place either on the nest or in a tree nearby. Buzzards favor trees for their nests, but regularly use cliff locations too. The nest is a substantial structure, built up over generations, and the pair usually have 2 or 3 sites to choose from. Fresh sprigs of greenery line the cup of the nest and cushion the eggs. In Scotland, 3 eggs are generally laid in mid-April.
Gentlemen, this is a phenomenon. These pictures have been enhanced. Note this extraordinary object. It's got a powerful 16-valve engine and ABS. Look here, the name, highly unusual. And what is wrong with this picture? Precisely, air conditioning. This Desire costs just $13,990 on the road. It's one of 3 limited edition Xantias available now.
The Citroen Summer Phenomenon. Now there's something you don't see every year.
Unfortunately, we have no idea what this creature is.
Survival, the music of nature. Survival, the music to soothe. Survival, the ultimate unwinding experience.
A great new striped toothpaste from Colgate. It's new Colgate Total Fresh Stripe. It has a great minty taste and a unique antibacterial formula that keeps on helping to protect you against bad breath, plaque, tartar, cavities and gum disease long after you've finished brushing. In fact, its green and white stripes will keep on working for up to 12 hours. New Colgate Total Fresh Stripe outstrips other stripes.
I'm not that fussed about losing my baby teeth anymore. Not now I've got these anyway.
Clementines and nectarines. Buy one, get another one free.
You would expect a cleansing milk to take your makeup off, but how about reducing the appearance of fine lines? Tests prove this is the first Ulay cleanser to fight the signs of aging. Its formula, containing Ulay fluids and beta-hydroxy, enables this cleansing milk to help stimulate the skin's renewal process, so you see the appearance of fine lines are reduced too. And the name? Daily Renewal Cleansing Milk from Oil of Ulay. We can prove cleansing can make you look younger.
When their chicks begin to hatch out in late May, buzzards are under more pressure to hunt frequently and successfully. The male catches food and brings it to the female during the month-long incubation and for the first 2 weeks after the chicks hatch. Then they're large enough to be left on their own while both parents go hunting. With two parents now feeding them, the chicks grow rapidly. They're different sizes because the female lays the eggs 2 or 3 days apart, and they hatch at similar intervals. The result is that the firstborn has almost a week of feeding before the third chick even hatches. So the oldest is much stronger and often mercilessly attacks the youngest chick. Attacking a sibling in the nest is known as the Cain and Abel syndrome, though in this case there is 1 Cain and 2 Abels. The level of aggression seems to be connected with food supply. If there's a shortage of food, then the oldest chick will have a better chance of survival if it kills the others. In plentiful times, the level of aggression drops and all the young may be raised. In between hunting trips, the parents rest and preen themselves. The most important prey items for the chicks are rabbits and small rodents. Only 2 chicks remain now. The smallest has already succumbed to the attacks of the strongest. Buzzards do sometimes raise all their chicks and have been known to rear broods of up to 5. This happens particularly in years when the vole population is high. By 18 days, the darker flight feathers are just beginning to show through the chick's down. Both chicks are thriving, despite the smaller one still being bullied by the larger one. The parents themselves also suffer the occasional attack from kestrels and crows. Buzzards regularly get mobbed, especially during the breeding season, when other birds are anxious to divert attention away from their own young. In mid-July, young buzzards all over Scotland are ready to fledge. This is another nest in an adjacent territory. The young are trying out their wings in preparation for their maiden flights. In this nest, all 3 young have managed to survive to the fledgling stage. Now the returning parents start to land not at the nest, but on the hillside close by. This encourages the young birds to start venturing out of the nest for food. At 8 weeks, the young buzzards are beginning to make more adventurous flights, even though their flight feathers aren't fully grown yet. The third young bird has still refused to leave the nest. It may have suffered competition with the other 2 chicks early on, and so isn't quite so well developed. However quickly the young birds grow, their chances of survival are grim. In some areas of Britain, almost 70% are shot or poisoned before they are 1 year old. Stimulated by its siblings, the one remaining on the nest is finally tempted to try its wings. Soon the hillsides seem to be full of young buzzards making trial flights. By October, the adult buzzards have time to relax. Now the rigours of the breeding season are over, they can often be seen bathing in burns and streams. After a bath, it's vital their feathers are dried quickly. There's already snow on the high peaks and the days are drawing in. During the late autumn and winter, the young birds will gradually leave the territories they were raised in as they become independent. Young buzzards don't always find it easy, particularly when it comes to catching larger prey like rabbits. The rabbit escapes apparently unharmed. In time, practice will make the young buzzard an adept hunter. But few of this year's young will become competent hunters with territories of their own. Many buzzards try to establish themselves in areas that appear vacant and then discover to their cost that it's a district where buzzards are still persecuted. Killing buzzards is illegal and there is no justification for it. Despite their reputation, buzzards take less than 3 or 4 game bird chicks each on average a year. There is also evidence to suggest that they take the weakest game chicks that might die anyway of other natural causes. And against this, buzzards also kill pests like rabbits. If persecution of buzzards ceased, there's every chance that they would recolonize the areas where they are still scarce. Buzzards are adaptable and will take any opportunity they see to move into new territory. In recent years, they've been spreading slowly eastwards, and an experiment to reintroduce them into parts of East Anglia is underway. Many people would welcome the sight of more buzzards hunting and soaring over the fields and valleys of the Midlands and Eastern Britain. If given half a chance, buzzards could make a rapid comeback to this countryside from which they have so long been absent.
A man with a passion for restoring old buildings.